Welcome, everybody. This is Charles Cook, managing partner here at Cook Baxter Immigration. And we're here today to talk about the DV lottery and what's going on with litigation right now. I thought you'd all want to hear as soon as we got word from the Department of State on their visa issuance. So they have just filed their report. Got their handy dandy report. We'll put the link up here shortly. Let's talk about what they said. Now, you all know that later today, there is no hearing, okay? No hearing today. We have to submit, both sides, our arguments for two things. One, the reservation of how many numbers we're asking the court to reserve from fiscal year DV2020 lottery. And that's why we needed the status reports. We needed to know how many were left available for the year. Also, the other thing we're addressing is the court's authority to extend the dates. We need both. We need numbers reserved, and we need to extend the date. Now, I have gotten a lot of DMs from you guys, and anybody DMs me know I respond to the DMs. I shouldn't, because there's millions of them, but I do anyway, because I'm just a nice guy, I guess. And so people are like, why don't you do something about non-plaintiffs? It's like, have you not been paying attention? We're fighting for plaintiffs and non-plaintiffs. And I think the numbers today, will prove that. So let's take a look at this. As you know, on September 4th, the judge ruled that the Department of State had to issue DV visas. They had to process them, and that they had made a grave error, a grave legal error, in not adjudicating the cases from March or April. A little unclear when they stopped at the KCC, and stopped issuing them certainly in April. And so when he said that, that applied both to the plaintiffs. He said, do the plaintiffs, pay attention to them, but it was for everybody. Everybody was open. And we know all about the problems in Azerbaijan and Iran and Sudan, the proclamation. We get all of that. All of that is on the table. Nobody should have been exempt from having their DVs issued. Okay, nobody should have been exempt from that. Our litigation was on all the proclamations, and they literally ignored it. They'll pay a price for that at the end, but let's talk about where we are. And I'm going to answer some questions. Let's see if I got anybody online here today. Carolina, yeah, we're going to get to the KCC. Let's take Abitha's got lots of questions here. Remember, you only got to ask a question twice. So let's talk about what's happened so far. All right. So today's report says this: the named plaintiffs in the lottery who have received visas. Now you have to understand, and the judge was a little confused by this. I think he now understands it. There's about 350 cases of DV. But there's 974 applicants, because family members, right? So we have 974 individual applicants for the DV visas. Now, here is what they said. As of yesterday, consular officers had issued 523 visas, diversity visas, to the plaintiffs in the case. 523 out of 974. All right, we're going to get into some details about that. All right. They had also issued during that same period 3,208 total cases. So besides the 523 diversity visas that they issued another 2,700 on top of that. You're welcome. See? Stop whining about the plaintiffs. Non-plaintiffs receives 600 times more visas than the plaintiffs. You're welcome. All right? You're welcome. Now, here's some more details about that. The department determined that the plaintiffs were 974, so officers issued 523. They refused 149 of the applicants because of 221G. Most of those were medical reports that'll resolve themselves. and 73 on other grounds. Other grounds could be criminal convictions. They could be errors on the form. They could be ineligibilities. You might have a criminal conviction, or maybe the job offer wasn't enough. Okay, so they've got a total of 149, at least temporary denials, and 73 refusals on other grounds. None of those were for the proclamation, is what they said. Now, the proclamations, or under the regional proclamations. So they're saying they didn't deny anybody a visa for any proclamation. Now, we all know that's not accurate, and at least they refused to interview people under the proclamations. You see how they're getting technical here? So here is what else. That's the next step. So they have done 3,208 visas in the last 3 weeks. Kudos. That's exactly what they should be doing. Well, they're a little bit under what they should be doing. They probably should be closer to 6 during that time frame, but that's where they are. They said one individual has not been could not be reached to go to the consulate. I don't know who that is yet. We're looking for that person. I don't know whether that's our plaintiff or the Fang Zhang plaintiff. And when 39 people were no-shows, 39 plaintiffs didn't show up. That's likely because they couldn't get to the country they were scheduled in, or they weren't given enough time to get there. Well, if any of those are our plaintiffs, we'll deal with those. All right. Now, here's what they also said. They report that the total number of diversity visas issued so far this fiscal year is 14,636 by the consulates. So that's 28%. And that immigration, USCIS, including just some woman, she reached out to me earlier this month. I put her in touch with a great lawyer in LA. That lawyer got her filed, got her approved in 3 weeks. Congratulations, Michelle. I'm so happy for you. For 765. So a total of 15,401 have been approved, 28%, which leaves essentially 39,600. So 72% of the visas, 39,600 are available. That is the sum total of their report. They did include a couple of declarations, which we'll also put up. One is from Laura Chamberlain, who is the division chief of the Education and Tourism Division. And her job, well, at least her department's job, maybe they couldn't find anybody else to sign this, is that as of September 24, this is the details of the visas issued. There are 164 applicants who've been scheduled but not yet interviewed. So of the 974 plaintiffs, apparently 164 have yet to be interviewed. I mean, there's only 3 days of interviews left, right? And then Ms. Grew is the director of Office of Domestic Operations. This is the KCC. Supposedly, yes, but they didn't give any report, by the way, on the KCC. They didn't give us a report on how many cases are at the KCC, or how many cases they processed at the KCC, or how many cases the KCC sent out to the consulates. That we don't know. Here's what they said. A lot of blah, 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 blah. From October 1, 2019 through September 4th, 2020, they issued 11,600, which is yet again a different number than they gave the court choice before about how many had been issued. They say from September 5th through September 24th, they issued 3,208 applications and denied or refused 1,885. That refusal rate is not abnormal for the DV. It's not an increased abnormal rate. If I'm going to pull out my handy-dandy calculator, and I think Britt Simon will probably do a much better job. So make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel and look at his Twitter page. He'll do a much better job of this. Because remember, I went to law school, not math school. And so we've got 3,208 out of 5,093. That's 62%. That's a denial. That's 62.9. So that's a denial rate of 37%. Simon will tell you whether that's good or not, I mean, I think that's probably pretty normal at this stage. And again, that's a refusal. That's not a denial. You know, there's a lot, especially in Russia. There's a lot of people with a lot of medical exam issues that have to get resolved. They said from October 1 through September 24th, they total altogether 14,000. So that's where they get their number in the report. Then they threw some other stuff in. They said that from July 15th through September 4th, the Department of State adjudicated 15,000 immigrant visa applications. This is everybody. It's the whole wide world, okay, for this year after Trump had canceled visas. Compare that to last year during that same visa, the department had adjudicated 92,000 visas. So they are about they're literally like 18% of normal visa capacity of the, and this is through September 4th, of the visas issued, 6% were diversity visa during that time, whereas in previous years, that number was double. It was 12%. So last year, they issued 11,000 visas between July 1 and September 5. And this year, they interviewed. This year, they did 956 and issued 488. They compare that to 2018 with relatively similar numbers, 10%, and 2017, where they had only done 7% for diversity visa lottery numbers during that time. Refusal rates generally the same. So basically what they're admitting is they're far, far behind where they would have been at this point. This actually brings home the fact for the judge that we need an extension. We need to reserve numbers. They're literally only operating at 15% of their overall capacity. And they had obviously, and because they were so much lower in July for the rest of the world, all the other visas that are stopped, their capacity is increased to do DV cases. So they actually have a much greater capacity to do DV cases than they've actually done. And, you know, kudos that they did 5,000 cases this month. They needed to do a lot more during this period. So that's what we're going to be arguing. So in our brief, we will be telling the judge that we want as many diversity visas as he'll give us in this. And I think if you look at their numbers, and they say here in Miss Gru's declaration, they clearly have the capacity to do, probably at least, if they did 5,000 in 3 weeks, they can do 8,000 a month. So if the judge gives them a 4-month extension, they should be able to do 32,000. Now, we would like an extension past the end of the year because visas will have to be reissued, and they can only be reissued after they expire. So we'll be asking for those people that got their visas, 3-month visas in September, so they can get the visas after January 1. So we're going to ask for, at least 32,000. Probably ask for all of them, but 32,000 would be awesome. Keep in mind, it was unlikely, given the 83,000 people they notified, that they were going to issue all of them this year. And obviously, we want to get all of them we can. But that's ultimately up to the judge. And, this has become, appears to me, a negotiation with the government and the judge. And I believe we have a very strong case to get a goodly number of these 39,600 visas that are left. I also believe we have a very strong argument on the judge's jurisdiction, his legal authority to extend the date. Now, for those of you that are confused by the legal authority, understand this. The lottery ends September 30th by law. But there are several cases, including one from just a couple of years ago, where the Court of Appeals that controls this judge said, no, you have authority to extend that date so long as you act before the end of the year, which he already has. So he has the legal authority to extend that date. Now, the date has never been extended for everybody. It's never happened that way. But we've also never had the misbehavior, the intentional misbehavior, and the intentional stoppage illegally of the Department of State in its history. And the only remedy to that is at least to keep the lottery open for as long as it was closed. And it's been closed since April. I mean, it has been closed. The visas, the 400 visas they supposedly issued between April and July, a little unclear who those were for. Probably people that were not subject to the proclamation as they were here or in the proclamation. They went home and got the visa and came back. But a little unclear. We don't have all the details on that. But that's where we are. So we will have our arguments on Monday. They're on video. I mean, you'll be able to see us. Hopefully mine will work this time. Didn't quite work last time. We're going to try to work out the kinks in that beforehand. I don't expect a decision before Wednesday. So I think the last day of the month is when we'll have the judge's decision. And I don't know the percentage. I don't live in Las Vegas. I don't give odds. I just know that we have a very strong case. And this team of lawyers, especially the pro bono lawyers, we wouldn't have wasted our time for free to help you if we didn't think we could win and we didn't think we were legally right. And so that's why we're going to keep fighting. All right, got some comments and questions here. I want to go through those. Carolina, please help the people waiting at the KCC. Again, you've already emailed me, texted me, and EM'd me, and I've already responded to you many times. Everybody, if they're going to continue it, they're going to have to do the KCC stuff. And I will make sure to mention that the KCC has not been polite in dealing with people. Why no hearing today? Because there never was a hearing today. You misunderstood. Today is simply a deadline to file pleadings. All right. Do something with case number stuck in the KCC documents, absence of a chance. As far as I know, everybody's got a chance, Sam. And remember the very first video that I told you guys on September 4th, that night, what you needed to do if you wanted to get your DV. And that was you needed to become the squeaky wheel. You need to be calling every day. You need to be calling every day. You need to be calling every day. Consulate, KCC. You have to be on top of this. All right. So that's, yeah. And people with high numbers have already been interviewed and issued visas. I know it doesn't seem fair, but the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. Now, for the others to be whining about the plaintiffs again, look, they had the courage. They came forward. All right. And in American jurisprudence, the plaintiffs always get the benefit first. But as you saw, 15% of them have been denied. So, and they only have less than 15% of the visas that were issued. So thank you. All right, Abitha, what form could extend equitable relief look like? I already talked about that. When we deal with plaintiffs, the Department of State doesn't deal, my dear. There's no deal with these people. Certainly going to read the point the judge only has authority to grant equitable relief to before them. That's not true. The judge has that. We have a class certification pending. We're going to be renewing that class certification today. I think the judge will understand why that's important, and I think he will grant relief for everybody. That's been our position from the beginning, that you don't have to be a plaintiff. The Kennedy plaintiffs were not merged with Gomez. They have their own timeline. All right, talked about that. Anastasia, I've scheduled for non-plaintiffs. Well, Anastasia, we'll make sure we bring that up. And I'm not sure if that's accurate, actually. But we will certainly let you know and put that forward in our argument. It was Thursday's approved. All right, Tiago, that's awesome. I don't know where you're from. It'd be great to know what consulate that was, but that's great news. The hearing, medical exam, that's not our hearing, okay? That's at the consulate level. You have to deal with each consulate, but getting the extension will get those visas issued. In the government report, they wrote the biggest article about Macedonia. They only had one officer, which is in isolation. What are they kidding? Martina, what can I tell you? I worked for the Department of State for a very short period of time. Yeah, I got no answer for you. Biggest problem, the KCC. How long to be extended? I don't know. Josephina, exceptions. By the way, the other lawsuit on the proclamations is still pending before Judge White, and if he strikes down the proclamations, you can all come in. So, we lost. I mean, the Gomez team lost. That was never part of our lawsuit. That was the Gomez part. But yeah, I mean, if that wins, you get to come in. Appointment canceled April 1. Judge accept deadline. Yes, you can get a new appointment. You will need to get Shahrazad. You probably want to start working on your new police report. Let's see. Why is it difficult in different countries? Because there's no consistency, Anastasia. Every country's consulate's run by a different person. It's all different fiefdoms. And that's generally how it works. You're welcome, Santoshi. Good luck in Nepal. I hope you would get that. That would be awesome. Cal, we're a team. I mean, Jeff Joseph, Greg Siskin, Phil Cook has been awesome. I mean, remarkable in this. Most of what you see is his work. It's just delightful. Have my son who does that. Department of State, not doing my should have been 8 months. Ramon, that's a different issue. If you are an admin processing for 8 months, you should contact us on Wednesday if we win the lawsuit so we can sue individually. That's when you want to be a plaintiff. What do you think about Gomez's appeal? I mean, it's the appeal. I mean, the timeline ran. They filed an appeal. I am of the belief that you win these cases at the trial court. Great if you can win on appeal, but if you don't win at the trial court, your chances are much less on appeal. But we'll be working with them on that. What about 2021? Well, Hashim, stay tuned for October 1st, and we'll talk about it then. Please tell me something. That's when he talked about that. You're all right. You only got to send one email, big guy. Let's see, 5 more days. By the way, there's 39 more days till the election. If you have family that are in the United States that are citizens, they better be voting, and they better not be voting for Trump. We already talked about that. Boss, you tell judge about the wait, Bardit, we have given the judge lots of the best declarations. He didn't probably have much time to read those prior to the hearing, but he will have read them by the time of Monday's hearing. 1014, I'm not worried about the proclamations at this point. Amazing result. Well done. Made to the full amount. I mean, we believe that the full amount should be issued. He's not going to issue the full amount. He's not going to do that. But that's, we're going to take what we can get at this point. Burma's not scheduling for non-plaintiffs. I'm sorry. They will hopefully have to do that. Called Roman. You keep talking about that. And let's see, we got here Udaya. Already talked about that. Report physicians in North Macedonia work under capacity, only 4 people a day. Ardit, afterwards we can talk about individual cases. Now we're going to be talking about everybody. We've got administrative processing, and there's no, Igor, speed up individual processing is suing them individually. That's when you do that. You sue them individually. That's what you have to do to get that sped up. Serge, I know they're telling you to apply in 2022. We already know that. We've already told the judge. I don't think he was really happy about that. Showed up in Paris, France, as his customer. Oh, that's great. Well, congratulations. And I hope you enjoyed Paris. That is a wonderful thing. Nobody should have got rejected under the Muslim ban. That's what the Department of State is saying. If you have evidence to the contrary, you need to get that to me today. Nodar, keep calling. I'm sorry. You just got to keep calling. You got to be the guy. We've got we've got visas waiting until 2021. Well, here's the deal. I hope you all understand this. If Trump wins, nobody's coming. You understand that, right? Because Trump's going to extend the proclamation. So you better hope that Americans, we do a much better job than we did last time. He's still probably, just so that you know, extend the proclamation on, he'll still be president on the 31st of December. So he'll probably still extend the proclamation, but then the new president can stop it as soon as he gets in on the 20th of January. So that's what we're going to be looking for. In Afghanistan, they're processing SIV cases, not DV. Well, if you've got proof they're not, they're telling us they're doing Afghanistan cases. So, again, you have what you know, and the government's telling us something different. Cubans, yes, lo siento, Lioban, Cubans are still trapped. There's nothing. We don't have a solution for that at this point, which is why we need to extend the ban, extend the time frame. Let's see here, different stuff. Thank you, Mike, for the efforts. Could call a KCC as a non-plaintiff and ask to process the case. We will talk to people individually after October 1st, but we're so focused on the group and the plaintiffs we currently have. But we're more than happy to help after that date. But we've got to really focus on this. Allah, we're looking at the F2A categories after next Thursday. All right, October 1. Sam been calling the KCC. Well, Sam, they may be saying that, and that's how we've got to win. So once we win, you call them, all right, and you tell them what we're doing. Uzbekistan. I don't know what administrative inspection is. If you're talking about administrative processing, that's generally an issue with fingerprints or medicals or something, and that's why you want to go there. And we hope, Naseeb, that there will be an extension. So there's our Facebook Live. We've gone over this. I will post this on Twitter right now. I'm going to scan it in as we're talking. I will then post that up so that you have access to that. And look at that. I'm scanning it as we speak. And we will then go ahead and submit our arguments tonight. We will put those up. I'll put the government's arguments up, and I will send around the information on how you can listen in on Monday to the oral arguments. Medical teams, Mike in London, told us medical address on the 30th because they told them they could send them by that time. We were worried they're going to be late. We called them email, but they won't change their mind. Well, I mean, if I were you, Mike, I would be all over the consulate. Call the consulate. Say, what are you telling the medical people to send it to you on the 30th for? The good news is there'll be visas. I mean, a lot of times on September 30th in previous years, there weren't any visas left. There will be visas available. So I'm pretty sure the consulate will do the right thing here. If they don't, you need to let me know because we will sue on your behalf. Let's see. Abdul Gadar, a filing deadline. Oh, is there new? We don't need anything new. We've got all we need to file. Victor, payment was directed for his yes, October 4th. It would be a month, and I've not received anything from yet. It was our pardon. They're taking a year on waivers, Victor. So if you needed a 601 waiver for your DV lottery, you're not going to get that before Wednesday. You're going to have to hope out that this deadline is extended. And finally, Ruse, you're welcome. We're doing everything we can to help you. If you have any questions, of course, you can DM me on Twitter. You can tag me on Twitter. And you can email me privately. For those of you that want to email me privately, I'm going to give you my email address. This is, of course, my Twitter right here. So you can get me on Twitter. And I'm going to find my email address here. Here's my email address. You can email me there. Of course, you can always also check out our website, which we haven't updated with all that stuff because, frankly, there's just not enough time in the day to do everything. But yeah, generally, all news will be updated on Twitter first. All right, everybody, a couple last comments here. Kennedy case, I know nothing about. It's not my case. The U.S. actually due to stuck in a black hole. Again, it might be TAL or SAO clearance, but that's why an extension is so vital. So we'll be arguing on your behalf. Have a good weekend. Trust that we're doing everything we can for you. Naseem, there's plenty of visas, is all I can tell you. Plenty of visas going forward. No, public charge is not in effect, so you don't have to worry about that, Fabian. After you finish with DV 2.0, yeah, I mean, if they're not going to apply the same rule of DV 2021, we'll be right back on that right away. And by the way, I do not believe the government is going to appeal. I don't think they're going to appeal. I really don't. I don't. I don't think they want more precedent against them. I really don't think they want this. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. I will, and we'll be thinking about you, praying for you, working hard. Have a great day.